Good evening, friends. Today we will see philosophical background of Kant's repertory. Now, so far we have seen the objective of this topic. Then we have also seen Dr. Kant's unsatisfaction towards logic applied in the dialectic similimum. So there were four important points that Dr. Kent observed that too much emphasis was given to the symptoms of part, mental symptoms were neglected, characteristic particular were abused as a keynote, and there was a neglection of probability of symptoms. And at the same time, the Boningussen's philosophy was also over indulged in the overgeneralization of symptoms. And according to Kant, it was a suicidal policy to overgeneralize symptoms because according to Kant, what is true for part is always not true for whole. So we'll see in detail when we'll see further philosophical background. So for this important drawback, uh, Dr. Kent has studied the philosophy, the logic, literature given by Samuel Hahnemann in much detail, and he found out that to overcome this drawback, he has given emphasis on three important principles, and on the basis of these three principles, Dr. Kent has created his philosophy of Kant's repertory. So, out of that, the first point is expression of whole is more important than that of part. Then, man. If you want to understand man, you have to understand this basic difference between the organ and the will and understanding of a man. So Dr. Kane says man is the will and understanding, and actually the body. It is just like a house, and will is the thing which lives in the body, which body to which he called as it is a house. Then we have also seen this point in much detail in the previous lecture. Then there was a second principle, that is principle of central disturbance and peripheral disturbance, that that we have also discussed in short. And then third principle, the pathological changes are not the end result. So on the basis of these three principles, Kant has derived his philosophical background. And accordingly, instead of focusing on the parts, Dr. Kant has focused on the expression of whole organs. And in this attempt to understand whole organs, we further found that these organs are just like a house. Organs is not the man, but man is something prior to the organs. And accordingly, he has given emphasis more on this man, which is prior to the house, which is prior to the body. And this man is nothing but will and understanding, and body and organs are just like our house. And then we were in the previous lecture, we were understanding this new terminologies mentioned by Dr. Kane. That is central disturbance and peripheral disturbance. So, and we have taken example of concentric circles which were seen after throwing pebbles in a water or in a pond. Then the pond or the pebble which first touches the surface of water, it creates certain vibrations, the central vibration, and then that central vibration is passed to the periphery. Then that first vibration is passed to second vibration is converted into third vibration or third wave. This third wave is converted into fourth wave, and then we see the number of concentric circles. And the same concentric circle diagram, if we put in front of us, Kant says that the most near to the man is central disturbance, and as we go away from the man, we come across the peripheral disturbance. And if you understand the derangement of health, you have to focus more on this central disturbance and peripheral disturbance. So central disturbance is the circle just close to the man. Now what is man? The will and understanding. And what is central disturbance? Is a disturbance which is just close to this will and understanding, and then further the peripheral disturbance. And he said that if you want to treat a patient, you have to first focus on this central disturbance first, and then focus on the peripheral disturbance. You can't stop the outermost wave of water unless you can do something for the central wave. So he has further explained what is how to understand this central disturbance and peripheral disturbance in a human being. And then accordingly he has further explained that what constitutes the central disturbance and what constitutes the peripheral disturbance. And in order to attempt cure of any disordered human being or disordered health of a person, you have to take care of this central disturbance and peripheral disturbance first. And then he further said that if you want to understand the central disturbance, you have to understand that central disturbance only through two important type of symptom, only through two important category of the symptom, and that category of symptom is mental generals and physical generals. The more and more you are understanding this mental general and physical general, you are understanding the center, and more you are understanding and more you understand the periphery, you will understand the peripheral disturbance. And this peripheral disturbance is understood through the characteristic particular. And while understanding this central disturbance and peripheral disturbance, Dr. Kent also gives the example of central government and peripheral government. So if there is a first change in the center, then it is conveyed to the periphery. The change is not in the reverse direction. The change is not from the peripheral or from state government to the central government. And same logic is in this concept of central disturbance and peripheral disturbance. Any disorder of a human being first gets its reflection in the center, in the central disturbance, and then slowly it comes to the periphery. Slowly over a period of time it reaches up to the house, it reaches up to the body. So to understand this central disturbance, peripheral disturbance, one has to be very clear with respect to the role of center, role of periphery, the importance of central disturbance and importance of peripheral disturbance. And then accordingly, on the basis of this two important concepts of central disturbance and peripheral disturbance, Kant has given further its philosophical background. And further Kant says that if you want to give a medicine, it has to cover the central disturbance. If it do not cover the central disturbance, the peripheral disturbance will never be covered. And Dr. Kent goes one step ahead, and he further says that if your remedy matches with the central disturbance, or it covers mental general and physical general, and if it is not covering the characteristic particular, you don't have to bother about this periphery. You don't have to bother about this characteristic particular. If your remedy hits in the mental general, physical general, that is in the central disturbance, the periphery will automatically follow the center and cure will automatically take place. And whenever we want to understand why Dr. Kent has given more importance to mental general, physical general, and not to the particular, this concept of central disturbance and peripheral disturbance must in front of our eyes. Then the third principle is pathology is the end result. Now, we all know that the inventions of microscope, the inventions of various pathological labs, pathological tests, or various investigations were the fancy of all the physicians. And even today, we do not treat a disease, a simple case of fever, unless there is a CBC report in front of us. We do not see a case of fever unless there is a chest X-ray, or nowadays there is a CT scan of thorax. And in modern science, too much, 3 much, 4 much time this pathology is given very important place in their treatment. Say if the inflammation is the pathology behind all disturbance, they will target this pathology by anti-inflammatory drug. If there is an infection, they will treat it with antibiotics, anti-helminthic, and anti-parasite medicines and antiviral medicines. And for them, pathology is the most important thing for deciding their treatment. But our Dr. Kent says what? The pathological changes and local expressions are the ultimate result of which cannot be taken as a sole expression of phenomenon. So what is this phenomenon? Conversion of health to disease. If you want to understand this phenomenon of conversion of health to disease, you should not stop. You should not get satisfied by mere looking at the pathology, because according to homeopathic philosophy, according to Kent's experience, according to Kent's logic, the pathology and local expression is the ultimate result. Ultimate result means the end result. Disease is prior to this end result. Disease is prior to this pathological changes, and therefore we must try and find out what is there before the development of pathology. This pathology is not at all important because it is the end result. So if we see the sick philosophy by Dr. Kent, in that chapter, Dr. Kent clearly explains what is this phenomenon of conversion of health to disease and how pathology is the end result. So initially, there is a dynamic disturbance in the vital force because of susceptibility. And because of susceptibility, this susceptibility attracts various exciting causes, and because of that exciting causes and because of inherent susceptibility, the vital force gets affected. then the vital force tries to overcome this disturbance on its own, but the power of vital force become weak, and then slowly the pathologies develop. And therefore, according to Dr. Kent, while constructing totality of symptom, there is no place for this pathology, and he was told. Therefore, he was against this phenomenon of understanding pathology as the end result, understanding pathology as the sole expression of disease. And he always said, no, it is not the pathology, but it is the central disturbance. So initially there is central disturbance, then peripheral disturbance, and then in the further peripheral disturbance, after peripheral disturbance, there is a development of pathology, and this pathology is very low in the hierarchy. And on the basis of these three principles, Kant has proposed his philosophical background. And these are the only two sentences you know for the philosophical background of Kant repertory, that it is deductive logic and it is general to particular. Now you know the meaning of deductive logic, and you don't know the meaning of general to particular with respect to the philosophical background of Kant repertory. So with respect to the philosophical background of Kant repertory, it is the importance more given to the general symptom and less importance given to the particular symptom. And the first three principles, on the basis of that first three principles, on the basis of this logic of general to particular, Kant has proposed five important pillars, five important concepts. So far, we have seen the principles, and now, on the basis of that three principles, Dr. Kant had suggested a solid philosophical background. And the first important point of this philosophical background is prime importance to mental general. Second is second importance to physical general. Third is characteristic particular for differentiation. Fourth is limited generalization. And fifth is limited value to the concomitant symptom. We will first see prime importance to or prime importance of mental general. So initially, Dr. Kant was a very good scholar of Swedenborg philosophy, and that philosophy, or he was under the influence of Dr. One great philosopher was there at that time, Swedenborg, and during his influence of Swedenborg, Dr. Kant has understood this few important points, that mind is as a key to the man. Now, further, he understood that what differentiates one person from another person. If two persons are exposed to the same situation, same environment, same position, same circumstances, how you are going to differentiate these two persons. Now, there is a very one interesting experiment which is carried out on the monkeys. I will tell this experiment right now because this experiment on the monkey is a very important research in the field of psychology. I will tell this research in a Hindi, in a story manner or in a story type manner. कुछ साइंटिस्ट लोग एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं. वो एक्सपेरिमेंट ऐसा करते हैं कि एक कुछ बंदरों के साथ ये जो एक्सपेरिमेंट है, ये बंदरों के साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट किया जाता है कि एक पिंजरा बनाया जाता है. उस पिंजरे में एक बंदर को छोड़ा जाता है और उसी पिंजरे में कुछ केले रख दिए जाते हैं और जो केले रहते हैं वो उसको आसानी से नहीं मिले, ऐसी व्यवस्था उन्होंने की रहती है. यानी कि क्या करते हैं कि वो पिंजरे के बीचों बीच किसी रस्सी के मदद से वो उसको टांग देते और फिर ऑब्जर्व करते हैं. फिर कुछ देर के बाद उस बंदर को भूख लगती है, वो इधर उधर देखता है, उसको कुछ नहीं मिलता है, वो शांत बैठता है. फिर उसके बाद में कुछ घंटों के बाद में उसको बड़ी जोरों से भूख लगती है और उसको केले दिखते हैं. तो फिर वो केले लेने के लिए जैसे ही उस केले के रस्सी के नीचे जाता है और छलांग लगाता है तो क्या होता है, ऊपर से पानी गिरना चालू हो जाता है और जैसे ही पानी गिरता है am I audible, am I visible?
Yes sir.
जैसे ही बंदर जाता है तो उसके ऊपर पानी गिरता है तो फिर वो बंदर वो केला खाने की इच्छा छोड़ देता है. फिर वो क्या करते हैं कि दूसरा एक बंदर है उस जाली में डाल देते हैं और फिर वो जो बंदर है उसको भी भूख लगती है. फिर वो भी क्या करते हैं, वो केले के नीचे जाता है और वो केला लेने की कोशिश करने लगता है. वो केला लेने की कोशिश करता है तो वहां पर उसके ऊपर पानी गिर जाता है. तो पूरे एक बंदर के ऊपर पानी नहीं गिरता है, सारे के सारे जाली में पानी गिरता है. तो फिर वो दोनों बंदर चुपचाप बैठ जाते हैं. फिर एक तीसरा बंदर कुछ घंटों के बाद में वो अंदर छोड़ते. फिर जैसे ही उसको भूख लगती है फिर वही वो केला लेने की कोशिश करता है और फिर क्या होता है, वापस वही एक्सपीरियंस होता है कि पूरे के पूरे जाली में पानी बरसना चालू हो जाता है और फिर सब बंदर जो है वो ये जो बार बार होता है उससे परेशान हो जाते हैं और फिर एक समय ऐसा आता है कि फिर चौथा बंदर आता है और वो जो तीन बंदर है ये बार बार पानी गिरने से और जो पहला जो बंदर है बहुत गुस्से में, पहला बंदर बहुत गुस्से वाला बन जाता है और फिर जैसे ही वो चौथा बंदर आता है और वो केला देखता है और जैसे ही वो केला देखता है केला लेने के लिए कोशिश करता है और फिर उससे तो कुछ वो कहा नहीं जाता. जैसे ही वो केला लेने के लिए कोशिश करता है बाकी के बंदर उसको मारने के लिए टूट पड़ते. तो ऐसा ये एक्सपेरिमेंट बंदरों के साथ किया गया. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But I am unable to see the screen share, the windows of Zoom app.
सर मग काय प्रूफ झालं त्याच्यावरून?
काय प्रूफ झालं सांगा बरं याच्यावरून. ही माकडं अशी का वागली?
आणि वैभवी
वैभवी वैभवी नावाचं माकड आलंय.
सर मी तुम्हाला विचारते, मलाच हा क्वेश्चन पडला.
हा, मग याच्यामधून त्या लोकांनी हे सिद्ध केलं की एक माकड हे जे आहे हे कसं शिकलं, तर ते त्या अनुभवातून शिकलं. त्या माकडांच्या मध्ये, सगळ्या माकडांमध्ये एक गोष्ट कॉमन होती, ती म्हणजे सगळ्या माकडांना लागली होती भूक. पण आणि मध्ये भूक लागण्यासाठी प्रयत्न केल्यानंतर काहीतरी विपरीत घटना घडते आहे. एका माकडाला कळलं, मग ते दुसऱ्याला कळलं, मग तिसऱ्याला कळलं, आणि ज्या वेळेला चौथा माकड तसंच वागायला लागला त्यावेळेला त्या तिन्ही माकडांनी त्या चौथ्या माकडाला ते करण्यापासून रोखलं. म्हणजे या चारही माकडांमध्ये काय झालं, एक प्रकारची अक्कल जी आहे, एक प्रकारची जे मेंटल सिम्पटम्स आहेत ते डेव्हलप झाले. आणि म्हणून त्याच्यामधून त्यांनी हा निष्कर्ष काढला की मेंटल सिम्पटम्स आर मोर इम्पॉर्टंट. जर तुम्ही तुमच्या मनाला सुख दिलं, तुमच्या मनाला थोडासा त्रास दिला, तुमचं मन जे आहे ते काहीतरी वेगळ्या पद्धतीने वागतं. आणि या सगळ्या माकडांच्या मध्ये तोच फरक त्यांना दिसला. असा काहीसा तो रिसर्च होता. तर मग आता या मीटिंगला 2 मिनिटं राहिलेली आहेत.
सर तुम्ही असे एक्झाम्पल देऊनच आम्हाला शिकवत जा, मज्जा येते.